Father, we come to you in the mighty name of Jesus. We thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain that we got. Father, we thank you for the sunshine. Father, we thank you for the air that we breathe. And Father, we thank you that we are in a country where we have been made free. Father, we thank you that each and every decision here today would not be of our own agenda, but it would be of your agenda for what's best of the community, what's best for the way that you're leading this city. Father, we thank you for the protection and the wisdom that you provide and continue to provide. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, moving on into our citizen comment period. I don't think we have anybody. Okay, moving into presentations, updates, and reports with city manager updates.
Mayor and council and general public, so that you're aware, our offices will be closed starting Wednesday at noon, and they will be open on the following Monday. So Wednesday at noon, Thursday and Friday, our offices will be closed. Just FYI, if you guys happen to continue to see the bandit signs along 90 and FM 1960, please feel free to reach out to us. We have someone out just throwing up bandit signs on every weekend. And we've been sending police department and also public works on-call staff to pick those up whenever they get put out on the weekend. So if you see them, feel free to give me a call or the police department, and we will definitely get those signs picked up. Just so you know, work has started. I shouldn't say started because it's almost completed. It's 90% complete on the Dayton offices. If you get a chance, you're more than welcome to come by City Hall, and we'll get James to go with you over there to give you a tour to see how it's coming along. We plan on doing a ribbon cutting to make the public aware of the new Daynet office location. We're so proud. If you noticed, we started taking in new applications probably 8 weeks ago at the most, and we had a little less than 100. Now we over 140 new subscribers. So we're doing very well, and looking forward to the office for Daynet to open. Let's see. Our application for the EDA disaster supplemental grant has been submitted and accepted. So hopefully we'll hear in reference to that particular grant. That grant was to assist us with the water well on Clayton. So that's what I have. And
Is that the $4 million grant?
actually, it's two.
Two, okay.
The $4 million grant that you're speaking of, that particular grant was the 23-24 mid-mod, and they're reconsidering how those funds will be administered. So we're waiting to hear back from that. And that was through CDBG.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
And then moving on to our monthly finance report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This report represents a general overview of financial operations through October 2023, which is the first month of the fiscal year 23-24. Beginning balances are audited, however, ending balances are unaudited and subject to change until the city completes their fiscal year 2022-2023 audit. A presentation of this audit is scheduled for February 2024. Just noted that I put 23, sorry. Budget numbers are the adopted budget for fiscal year 23-24. We're gonna start off with the general fund. Total revenues are at $451,782, or 4.3% of budget, which is 9% more than last year to date. If you notice that some line items from the reporting period in October are zeros, and this is due to collections being accrued back to September to reflect correct reporting for the end of the fiscal year 22-23. Revenues should start increasing starting December. Total expenditures are $481,035, or 4.5% of budget. On the general fund, revenues are under expenditures by $29,253, and this is due to quarterly and annual payments that we have to pay up front for the fiscal year, which is not uncommon. Revenue should start increasing, like I said, in the following months. Staff will keep monitoring the revenues and expenditures. For the water sewer fund, total revenues are at $646,457, or 9.1% of budget, which is 40% more than last year to date. Total expenses are at $263,612, or 4% of budget, which is 30% less than last year to date. Total revenues are over expenses by $382,845 due to departments trending within budget. The solid waste fund, total revenues are at $68,409, or 8.4% of budget, which is trending on budget. Total expenses are at $11,237, or 2% of budget, which is due to frontier waste invoice that has to be paid in November. Revenues are over expenses by $57,173 due to department training within budget. For the fiber fund, total revenues are at $17,900, or 15.9% of budget, which is 61.2% more than last year to date due to the increase of interest. Since we changed banks, we're receiving more interest. Total expenses are $25,178, or 2% of budget, which is 28.2% more than last year due to fiber installation, contracted services, and personal expenses. Revenues are under expenses by $7,277 due to fiber expenses that are occurring to continue to service the city of Dayton residents.
Leslie, I have one question. On the revenue side of it, you commented that some of them were zeros because they haven't accrued anything yet. But the combined services, number one, is already at 26% of its budget for the year.
Yeah, and that's what I meant, where we have to do quarterly payments, so that one is gonna be, because you're paying for 4 months.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 3 months. We'll pay quarterly.
Okay. So
yeah, that one's gonna be showing high, and then human resources, because we have to pay the rents and benefits, I believe, upfront too. So that's why it's trending high, but it's not uncommon. The revenues are getting accrued back, but we should start seeing in December, sales tax, because we're 2 months behind on sales tax. So the one for October is actually, collections for October are actually collections for August, the ones for November are actually for September. So in November, you'll also see 0 on sales tax.
Okay, thank you.
I had a general question for either you, Leslie, or for Kimberly. A couple of months ago, we went back and changed how we were processing the credit card payments for the water bill, where we added the fees back on. Has kind of the ruckus died down about that since?
It has. We, as of, it initially started, so I would say with like a month from the time that we actually got started, it was pretty rough. With citizens coming in complaining, but now it has settled down, and it's just a fee they know that they will be charging, and it's become acceptable.
Has it made more people start coming in and paying with cash and check, or?
I don't think it has.
You know,
No.
They just submit the fee.
They just accept the fee. They know where they go. They have a credit card fee.
Everybody.
Have you had an increase of people electing to set up the automatic draft through their bank account?
No, I just did it myself for the day.
We do let them know of it. I'm not sure if they're taking advantage of it, but we do have like quite a bit of people that are in drafts right now.
Yeah, I signed
I
up
mean,
for
we
it as
feel
soon as
like-
we started that.
Yeah. Like, we collect almost 70,000 a month of collection.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Hudson? Okay. All right, moving into, department reports. Anybody have any questions regarding the reports in the packet? Okay. All right. And then moving on to, the mayor's staff, comments. I did want to say one thing from the outset, I mean, he's always here, but I'm especially proud of our Dayton Police Department. Here lately, I feel that they've gone above and beyond. We had a little bit of a ruckus, over in town a few weeks ago, and literally within 45 minutes, it was completely over, and these guys were off the street. And so I just wanted to publicly say, I told him in text before, but I just want to say publicly, Derek, thank you to your officers. Thank you for your leadership that you're showing them.
Ditto. And I actually have a few announcements that I'd like to make the public aware of on some events. We have 3 local churches hosting free Thanksgiving meals, which are Greater Faith Apostolic Church on 1960, New Life Church in Kennebec, and Trinity Baptist Church across from Thrifty. This Saturday is also Market 535's Christmas at the Crossroads. It is a free event to attend. It's from 10 to 4. And the Dayton Fire and Police Museum Committee has their annual calendar fundraiser. And I have some available. They're a $15 donation for each one of those, if anyone would like one of those. We have the Dayton Chamber of Commerce is hosting on December 1st its annual cookie crawl from 5 to 8 p.m. Saturday, December 2nd, of course, is the City of Dayton's Spirit of Christmas events with the Nutcracker Market that begins at 11 here at the Community Center, the parade that starts at 6, and the tree lighting at 7. On Saturday, December 9th, the Dayton High School Drama and Choir are hosting a tea with Elsa and Anna in the DHS cafeteria from 11 to 1. Tickets are $15 each or $25 for a family of up to 4, which can be purchased at any of the DISD campuses. And then the Dayton High School Drama and Choir are presenting Disney's Frozen Junior at the Dayton High School Performing Arts Center. There's going to be 3 performances, one Friday, December 15th at 7 p.m., and 2 on Saturday, December 16th, one at 2 p.m. and one at 7 p.m. Tickets for those events are $10 each and can be purchased at the high school front office. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you, Tanya, for that. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up or say?
Did anybody go to that little ribbon cutting thing out there at River Ranch for the pond?
Yeah, we had
Muddy, I was gonna go, but it seemed like it was gonna be muddy that day, so I didn't.
Yeah, they had it set up.
That's where I went.
They had a Jeep get stuck. So they just did the tour down 146 and said, imagine what it's gonna look like. I said, I'm good, I do that every day. But yeah, it went really well. And I feel like it was well received by the council. They
3 of us were there.
yeah, they
Four of us.
yeah, all of them.
And we were all interviewed.
Yeah, we all did video interviews, kind of talking about, you know, what this is going to do with the Dayton economy and how we feel like it's going to grow. He was quick to distance himself from River Ranch. But yeah, it went really well. Moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda as written?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented. I second.
A motion and a second. Anybody have anything they want to discuss? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Consent agenda passes. Okay, moving into our action items, consider, action item A, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2023-106, a resolution of the City Council of Dayton, Texas, approving and authorizing the execution of a reimbursement agreement relating to the improvement area number 2 of the West Point Villages Public Improvement District and resolving all other matters thereanto.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This deals with West Point Villages, which is the subdivision being developed out on Waco Street. Yes. That they're building lots of houses and seem to be doing a great job. They're moving into the next phase of this development, and what this agreement does is, it all relates back to our original agreement that we have with them, but under this, it allows them to get reimbursed out of any PID bonds that are issued, just like the agreement says that they would, and for any expenses related to this. And in the event that no PID bonds were issued, then the assessments would be used to reimburse them back if the council did not issue any PID bonds on that project. So this isn't, at this point, there's no funds being tied to anything, but this has to be approved before they can start spending money on anything out there. And I believe they're planning to start in December. And so it's time sensitive to get on, moving on this, for them to start on this phase of the development. And I know Ken is here.
Yes. Apologize. It's, the reimbursement agreement will allow us to be reimbursed for lots upon sale. We actually plan on selling lots. We've completed sections, or excuse me, very near completion in sections 2 and 3. Section 2 was part of the PID bond that y'all issued a year and a half ago. Section 3 will be the one that we'll be issuing in the first quarter, towards the first quarter of next year. And we'll be selling section 3 lots, which is what this reimbursement agreement specifically addresses. The original agreement covers section 2, so there's really nothing. This keeps us basically clean in section 3, that's all.
Yeah. For the same development, just the next phase of the development.
That's correct.
Thank you, Ken.
How many phases is there?
7, we're gonna do 7. There are 2 phases in section, I'm sorry, there are 2 sections in IA 1, improvement area 1, and there'll be, sections 3 through 7 in IA 2.
Didn't we already approve something for phase 1 at the last council meeting?
Yes, what we approved the,
SAP,
the SAP,
Okay.
service and assessment.
thank you, all these service and assessment plan, thank you. I'm glad Ken was here. So we would ask that you approve, this just keeps this development going, just as all the agreements said it would.
So I move the city council adopt resolution number R 2023-106, a resolution approving and authorizing a reimbursement agreement.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion?
I just might add, Mayor, this agreement was gone over by our bond counsel and our financial advisors and everybody on our city team, myself, trying to work through to get this where it needed to be. So.
Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item A passes. Item B, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2003-109, a resolution setting a public hearing under section 311.003 of the Texas the Texas Tax Code for the creation of a tax increment investment zone within the corporate limits and extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Dayton, Texas, authorizing the issuance of notice by the city secretary of Dayton, Texas, regarding the public hearing and directing the city to prepare an investment zone preliminary project and financing plan.
Thank you, Mayor. This deals with the D.R. Horton development that we talked about last month. Y'all approved the development agreement last month. As part of that development agreement, we're going to create a tax increment reinvestment zone over that property. This is just saying that we're going to set it for a hearing for that tax increment reinvestment zone in December. So that's all this action is setting the hearing date for next month.
I move that the city council adopt resolution R 2023-109, authorizing a public hearing, authorizing the issuance of notice by the city secretary and directing the city to prepare a reinvestment zone preliminary project and financing plan.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Item D passes. Item C, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2023-104, amending the DYSA parks use agreement for the 2023-24 year.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the only thing they changed in the previous contract to now is what we went from $45 to $75 an hour per field, and then a $500 weekend rate per field.
And this is not for DYSA, this is gonna be for the select teams that
Yes.
may come up.
Anybody wants to rent the fields other than DYSA.
So I have a question, and you already know where I'm going with this because I was last year. The DYSA, and I get it, they're a great program. My kid, both of my kids participated in DYSA as well. What is the city making off this rental?
The city doesn't make nothing on it.
So the city doesn't make anything, and they're charging $500 a team for select ball to use the field for the weekend.
Yes,
Plus,
sir.
they're charging $75 up from $45. So I kind of feel like that Dayton is kind of getting a raw deal.
They do take care of the fields. They mow them, they plant them, they put all the turf, everything. They take care of the inside of the fields.
They pay the light bill.
And they pay the light bill.
Right. I don't even care if it's $20 a month. Something.
What is the average cost of the light bill that they're paying? What's their average light bill?
The light bill average around, I think around $1,200 a month for the light bill.
Just for the park?
That's just for the.
That's just the lighting
The
for
lighting,
that.
for
That
the
ain't the whole
baseball
park.
field.
Yeah, I'm just
inclined to go.
I'm just not comfortable with it. I mean, y'all can do what you want, obviously, but I'm just not comfortable with the city providing the land and then someone else coming in and say, you give it to us for free, and we're gonna upcharge from $45 now to $75, for the use of the field during the week. I think isn't it $75 an hour?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so $75 an hour to use the field, plus a $500 charge on the weekends, while again, the city makes nothing off of this. And I mean, that's just my thoughts.
But what would it cost the city in manpower to maintain that field? And what would it cost the city for the upkeep of manpower and electricity?
I don't have them numbers, but I promise you I don't have them folks either to do it. We would have to hire folks.
So it's not like it's nothing to the city. It would cost the city in manpower to run that field. The youth association is doing something in lieu of paying the city, and they are also providing activities for our youth. So I have no problem with this arrangement. Because again, they are providing activities for our youth. Yes, the youth are paying, but for the city to maintain this would cost the city.
Well, the bottom line is if the city didn't have anybody in there, we wouldn't actually maintain it, we would probably sell it. get it back on the tax roll. We get the point.
You
We
can't
talk
sell what
about
party
quality
out
of
of
life.
Yeah, you would have to.
And that's, it's not, again, the property was donated as.
I just, my thought is I'm just having a hard time with the fact that they wanna upcharge, and I get it, we're in a time of hyperinflation. We all know that, but they're wanting to upcharge, you know, plus they're adding the $500 charge that they did not have before in the agreement. So now they're getting additional revenue coming in on the weekends. And again, I mean, we still have to mow the outer edge of the fields, right? We still have to mow anything that's not inside the
We
fence.
mow everything outside the field.
Yeah, so we're still into it some. We're still having manpower out there mowing.
If this helps you a little bit, the cost they're charging is not near what surrounding cities charge for their parks. I don't have the numbers right on me, but this is still cheaper. And if you consider $500 for a whole weekend versus $75 an hour, that $500 is well worth it. That's what we went through with the Parks Board, and this is their recommendation.
So I have a question. Looking at the revenue and the gross profit, what DYSA is bringing in just for December 2023, I noticed that there were it was about $38,000 in contributions. I don't see on this report, I'm trying to see, how much does DYSA give back to children who can't afford to pay the fees to participate in DYSA sports?
So that's a good, question. To answer you, we've been advised that they do give back, but as far as the amount that they contribute or give to those that may be less fortunate, I don't have those numbers. They do provide us with their financials. We had questions in regard to their financials that was given to us. Leslie reached out to them and received some clarification on it because they are making money. And one of the things that the city is doing, and I don't know how, much you guys understood what was said, but we do, like when the renovations came down to the concession stand, the city, we pay for those renovations. The renovations to the restroom, the city did pay for those renovations. The new lighting that's out there, the city did that, and along with the drainage as well. Certain things that the city do take care of. I will tell you, when they first came about, in regards to how much per hour, it was more than $75. If I'm not mistaken, I think they wanted $150.
They wanted 100.
And I made a recommendation to staff not to go in there supporting $150, to take that number down. And we compromised to $75 per hour versus $150, because we know that the youth in our community, in the surrounding communities, really enjoy using that softball field, baseball field. And we want to continue to support this organization. We really would like to, but we also do not want the organization to take advantage of the community and charging a ridiculous price.
Are they a registered 501c3?
Are they?
I believe so, yes.
So they're a registered nonprofit and they're taking in revenue?
Yes.
That was a good question.
The $500, if I could finish this, the $500 I thought was excessive. Should they have to pay something? I think they should, because of the fact that they are taking care of the light bill. So when you have a select group coming in, they should. Now, do I agree with the amount that they're charging for it? I do not. But council, you have the last say. I just want you to know our stand as far as employees and what we see taking place. We still have some questions in regards to their financials based on previous I don't know how to put this politically,
Do you,
Previous management of their funds
Thank you.
is my concern.
but
do
And
they,
then you got, if you look at $75 an hour times 10 hours a day, that's $750.
Right.
And if they have 5 games a week, that's over $4,000 that's taken in. And I'm want to believe that their light bill is not $4,000
and that's not
a month.
including the $500
Yeah,
notice?
I haven't even got to that
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So I would like
This is
to
not
see,
PYC.
they pay
It's
about
for
14,000 a year on the light.
and the additional 75, Murphy, is only for, is that for select
This
teams?
this is really about select. Select, get people wanting to come in and rent the fields
Yes, I
on the
understand what that
weekend,
is.
not really during the week, it's more the weekend rate.
What we get.
Do we know what their select schedule looks like?
I do not.
But
They have
it's,
not provided me with none of that.
it's not just select, because I remember he came to me and he talked about when parents want to have the lights turned on for the kid to practice. So it's not just selecting, because he made mention to me regarding the parents coming out there with their child and they have to turn all the lights on for the parent,
Right.
that one child.
And we know that they're not out there tearing the lights up, they're just slamming them on, which is, takes them to the highest tier of purchase. What I would like to see is this, I'm just throw this out there, what I would like to see is kind of a cost breakdown, because what I'm seeing here is January to December of 2023, we're missing at least 3 months worth of financials. So my question is did they just give us up till whenever it was they gave us, saying it's to December? Or, because, you know, for a 501c3 operating net revenue of $4,400, that's money that could go back into the community. And so, what I would like to see is kind of a cost breakdown, from the city of how much money that we have put into repairs, maintenance, what the manpower cost is for us to mow it for the year, what over the last, so from January to December of 2022, what kind of money did we put into it? From the city standpoint, is what I would like to see, and I would like to table this until we get that.
I can tell you, we put in about 2.2 million in bond money in it.
So,
Within the last 5
yeah,
years.
so then it's,
But it's,
Definitely.
it's more than that. But
Yeah.
So,
And also, Mayor, it's not that their bank account is hurting from what I'm looking at. If you look at their current, assets in their, bank account. So I'm kind of in agreement with you. I would like to see a more detailed breakdown of their expenses. I would like to see how much they're giving back
okay.
to the community for those children who, can't afford, before I can make a decision on this.
Okay.
That's my.
so do we want to vote or do we want to table it?
Do you want to take, does
You have
someone
to
make a
vote to
motion?
table.
What's that?
They need to vote to table.
Yeah, we need a motion.
We need a motion.
Okay, all right, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we defer this, table it.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, to defer this until we can get the, asked information that we've asked for. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item's been tabled.
I will try to get on here.
Thank you, Michael.
Moving on to, action item D, consider with possible action on ordinance number O 2023-22 approving, fiscal year 2022-2023 budget amendment.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So every year, this has to be done twice a year. For fiscal year 22-23, we had 4 departments, that went over budget, which is, I need to make a correction on the one that says not a department. It's actually combined services. And then on the department number, instead of 00, it's 01. But combined services, went over budget by 12,000. not enough money was budgeted for the city's TML insurance. This includes the city vehicles, insurance, and the property and equipment insurance as well. Technology, Department 11, went over budget by 102,000, and that's due to a lot of stuff that, were not budgeted for, software, temporary cameras, consulting fees, city hall fiber repairs. My explanation is there, but if you have any questions, you can ask more about that. And then on planning and development services, Department 25 went over by 50,000. It's just a number of developments increased and merchant fees were not budgeted. However, the revenue for building permits increased, which is coded to revenue for accounting purposes. The library, Department 30, went over budget by 21,000. The library bought 10 computers for the computer lab. However, the library donated towards this expense. The donation was coded to revenue for accounting purposes. And then, our city manager approved for library employees to receive an increase due to previous management lowering their wages. So she just brought up their wages to what they needed to be at. And that's, a total of 185,000 that we went over budget. And I just wanna point out that we are being, even though we went over budget 185,000 in total of those departments, we actually had savings in the other departments. But this is something that we have to do every year because the department itself went over budget. But I do wanna let you know that last year, 10 departments went over budget and they went over budget by 748,000. So, we're doing a lot better.
Oh, that was last year?
Yeah, last year, 10 departments went over budget and it was for
I was
748,000.
like, wait, what?
No, that was last year, so we're doing,
My next question was, why isn't it on the sheet?
yeah, no, sorry, the fiscal year
before last.
21,
Yeah.
22.
Right, okay.
Yes. But just to clarify, that was just the 4 departments, the overall budget.
Yeah, the overall budget, give me a second, I have it here.
Was that over?
Overall, for general fund, we were under budget. We used, 92%.
What was budgeted?
Yes, what was budgeted. So even though we went over budget in some departments, the other departments did savings, so, technically, I know that the final audit hasn't been done yet, but we, collected 10% more in revenues, which is $1 million, so it covers the 185. Cause we collected 109.
So bottom line, by the time we see the audit, our revenues will be higher than what
Yes,
our.
we'll have a surplus. We're projecting a surplus of $2 million to add to our fund balance.
This, to me, falls under finance and department heads to make sure they accurately try to get their budget as close as they can. It's under finance to make sure they don't go over it. I don't understand it's past the 700,000. I get it, cause it was underneath what we had for the overall budget excess. But going in the future, we need to make sure, if you set a budget for the police department, it's $1.3 million, we need to try to stay within that 1.3, not go 1.4 without, okay, I get it, you have some crashes and it happens. But when you're talking 700,000 from the 21-22 year, 22-23 is at 185 for just that one, so it's gotten better, but we definitely gotta work harder on trying not to.
I agree, we are, and it's some things are for unforeseen expenses, and, it's gonna happen. I mean, regardless of how careful we are, it's gonna happen, that something's gonna break, something that's not budgeted, and we're gonna have to come to council and say, hey, you know what, this broke, we have to amend the budget.
And I think you guys did a great job based on what you just shared, dealing with audits. That seems to be my life these days. And there's always a 10% margin that you have to either look at going over or under. So if you're under that 10%, that's really good. And to say that you guys did what you did.
Yeah,
here,
overall,
but overall,
we were at
overall, we're
92. It was just the department, and some of these things, I know at the time, technology didn't have, I mean, I don't think they had a director at the time. So it was kind of like, I guess, them estimating what softwares they had, what they didn't have, and then whenever me and James came on board, we were like, oh my God, all these stuff that weren't budgeted for, what's going on?
So it was a lot of it was software renewals that was not taken in consideration of what they cost to renew the softwares that we use.
I mean, and we are trying to make it better where we're centralizing everything in the IT department because everything was like all over the place. Now we're having everything centralized in IT. But like I said, there's gonna be instances where we're gonna have to come to them and say, hey, this is an unexpected expense. But overall, I believe we're doing really good because we were under budget as a total, as a whole.
Well,
I have a question on the Department 30 with the library. I understand the 10 computers and the donation covered it, but it was under a different line item.
Yes, so it has to get coded into revenue. So when we receive funds in, we have to code it in the revenue, which is like the income received, and then this has to be expensed out in the expenditure.
Okay, but on the other part of it, the library employee merit increases, wouldn't that have been in the other budget?
That was not part of the regional budget. I was not city manager at the time when that budget was created. It was created by another city manager. Keep in mind, those positions was, salary was reduced. And nothing was justified to take someone that's an existing employee and reduce their salary. It was very unfair. And when that took place in city council, named me city manager, I made it right. And they gave them back their salary.
So when did that occur?
It occurred back in February. I took immediate action and brought them back. Those are two employees that I couldn't see me taking a chance in losing. It was our librarian and Sydney is her assistant. And to lose both of them at one time behind someone wanting just to reduce their salary, and they were spending more in other line items, it wasn't right.
So this will be in addition to the 3% that we approved during.
That was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was previously done. It's not gonna take effect anymore. It was already done.
Right, but I'm saying when we went into, so everybody would have received a increase in October, right? When the new budget went in.
Yes.
Okay, so this would be in addition to that.
Right, to
Right,
make them,
they
to bring them
already
up
got
to where they need to
They need
be.
to be.
Even if, where they were.
Because if they were there at the time prior to that 3%, that's what their salary would have been.
Right. All right, and then you said item 00, what was that again?
So in fiscal year 21-22, the not a department, got changed to combined services. And then the number 00 is actually 01, I'm sorry, I didn't update that, but it's called combined services and the department is 01.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion on the budget amendment?
So I move that we approve ordinance number 2023-22, approving fiscal year 22-23 budget amendment.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and approval. Motion and second. Any other discussion points we want to discuss? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item D passes. Item E, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2023-96, approving the purchase of a new Vector truck for public works.
I'm back. So the jet truck, factor truck that we have currently does not operate. It's out of service. It's a 2002 model. The cost to fix it is crazy. It has all kind of electrical issues. It's done. So what I'm asking for council is to buy a new jet truck. It's, I've got bids, y'all have them? So that's a buy board price, and the funds will come out of, impact fees.
And we just talked to them about what the truck does.
The jet truck, Vector truck, has a lot of features, so its main goal is to unstop sewer lines. But we also utilize it for storm drains, clean out storm drains, or when we have a bad water leak or a sewer line that's got a lot of fiber optic lines and stuff around that we can't dig with a machine, it will vac the dirt around it so we can hydro vac it out of there, so we won't cut no fiber optic lines. It has a lot of issues, a lot of stuff that goes along with it.
So this is two different quotes? And this is that what
You
this is?
should only have one.
It's just one, just one.
You should have
And
one.
Mayor, City Council, you did approve this in
Yes.
your, capital improvement plan, your 5-year plan to come out of impact fees. But once we get the quote, anything up over 50,000, we have to bring it to you, for that reason. But you did approve it back in September, in the CIP. If you notice, it was there coming out of Fund 141, which is your impact fees.
I guess the reason I thought it was two different, because I got two papers here that look almost exactly the same except for the numbers. The starting motor, well, the numbers subtotal B on page 218 is 268,331. The same line item on 217 is 276,951. That's why I thought it was two different quotes.
And if you notice, the subtotal from additional sheet is the 268,331 from sheet 218.
5-year service agreement.
Do you not have the HCAC agreement? Do you not have this?
Here, they have it.
Yeah, I've got the,
Okay. Yes.
But on sheet 217,
yeah,
the subtotal from additional sheet,
okay, they're backwards, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what it is, they're backwards.
Yeah, I was looking at it in order and they're actually scanned in backwards. Okay,
371.
no problem.
What is the factory, what do you get factored from these guys without this plan?
Say that again?
What do you get factored, you buy this factor truck, what are you getting with it without having to go extra and do the 5-year service agreement? What are you getting just plain up? Has you got a warranty on it for so many
Yes, sir.
years?
Yes, sir. That's, I've gotten 3 quotes from 3 different vendors. This one, we chose this one because of the warranty. This one has a lot of warranty and a lot of service that comes with it. The other ones didn't offer that. And so, this one here, this Vector, which is the same truck, what's crazy is it's different company, but same truck, Vector, but different company. They quoted $400,252 without a service or without any warranty. So that's why we chose Kinlock.
So we're looking at the 371, 540, is that what we're looking for?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve resolution R 2023-96, approving the new Vector truck for the public works as quoted in the price.
I second.
Do we, Brandon, real quick, do we have to include in the wording that it doesn't exceed this amount?
No.
No, okay.
Because it'll be the price amount, the quoted amount.
Okay.
He said the quoted amount.
Okay. All right, I have a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item E passes. Item F, consider possible action on resolution number R 2023-107, approving the purchase of 2 public safety vehicles.
Mayor and council come to you tonight to, in your packet there, you should have a quote for 2 2023 Chevrolet Tahoes, police packages, rigged out with all the equipment ready to go and a total there. Thanks to Councilman Hedrick, he did locate these vehicles for me because I couldn't find them. They happen to be the color that we actually need to, so, I'm requesting, we amend the budget to approve the purchase of those vehicles.
I'm glad you mentioned John, because he was the first one I was gonna ask.
Trust me, I bought several of them. He knows.
So my question is this, absolutely not opposed to upgrading our officers' vehicles. What is the 3 or 5 year plan at this point to kind of rotate out? Because I know when we talked before, that we had some, I think it was like 2014 or something like that, these old vehicles. What is the plan to get rid of those?
So we're making a lot of headway on that.
Okay.
We've got currently 4 Explorers that are out of service right now in the service center yard right now. We were able to purchase 2 Tahoes when I got here, 2 this last year. This will be 2 more. That's gonna get our fleet looking pretty good shape for right now. Obviously, we wanna stay on target with those and not run them to, excess, like some other agencies do. But I believe that probably, without having it in front of me, I'm thinking, a couple a year for the next couple of years, with approval, if we have the money to do it. If not, we'll get by with what we have. But, to get us back where we need to be, that's my recommendation.
So we're looking at like, what, 2 a year or something like this?
If we
Kinda
can
like
get
that?
them.
Okay, okay.
And then, once we get the Explorer phased out and get all Tahoes and then we probably are able to take off, a year or 2 and skip. So I can put it together for you and show you if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
I do have a list of all the fleet vehicles that we have and what's been taken out of service and what.
So at what point are we gonna get motorcycle cops?
Not gonna happen. Unless you want it to happen, not my recommendation.
I'm just kidding, man, I'm just kidding. I need people to be able to chase me quicker.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to approve? I think we're in agreement.
I move that we approve resolution number R 2023-107, approving the purchase of 2 public safety vehicles.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve in a second. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item F passes. Enjoy your new Tahoe, sir.
Thank you.
And is this going into the budget or?
It'll still be 2 months.
That's,
it's already-
it'll still be
that's
2
on-
months.
That's next on the next line item.
We're gonna take the funds, to answer your question, we're gonna take those funds, from revenue that we will have.
All right, consider with, item G, consider with possible action on ordinance number, O 2023-23, approving fiscal year 23-24 budget amendment.
Mayor and council, this is to, you just approved the purchase of the vehicles, and this is to amend, the PD's budget to be able to purchase the vehicles, and the, funds are gonna come out from general fund unassigned fund balance to fund the 2 vehicles.
Moving forward, what I would like to see personally is so that we don't have to move this from the general fund moving forward, I would like to see this as part of their regular budget for the vehicles added to their budget.
And I did have a question, for Leslie regarding what exactly is the general fund unassigned fund?
That's like the savings that we have each year. It builds up the savings. And so this, even though we have not completed the year, I'm projecting to have $2 million that's gonna go into that fund balance. And that's where I'm using the funds from.
So that's our reserves.
Reserves, yes, sir.
Okay, are we even close to getting to that bump mark where we gotta be?
Yeah, we are already there.
Okay,
This is additional to,
okay. So we have a surplus in what we need to keep.
yes.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion on item G?
I move that we approve ordinance O 2023-23 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and a second. Any other comments, questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item G passes. Okay, consider with possible, item H, consider with possible action regarding the updated street assessment analysis. Although, are we tabling this because of the next line?
No. We're not tabling, what staff would like to do, Mayor,
Okay.
is go over the report in which, staff went out and they conducted a survey of the streets, and we updated the number as far as the cost, to repair those roads, and we'd like to go over that with the council to show you the difference and let you know that the priority list is still there, it's still good, it's still valid. The streets still need to be repaired. There's 2 other streets that was identified by Public Works that need to be added to that list. They have a recommendation for the council as far as repairs is concerned. So I would like for them to be able to go over that, because they took the time out to do the assessment. And I would like for them to be able to show council, the photos which was sent out to you and updated cost estimate, to repair those roads.
And I'd just like to comment before we go over the 20 streets, that what we are looking at is doing what we have done in the past, patchwork. We are not looking at what we really need to do, which is attacking a street from the base up, which will really address our street problems. What we are about to look at is doing the same thing we have done in the past, patchwork, which will get us what we now have. We do not have the funds to adequately address our street problems. Our street problems deal with inadequate base, which has us where we are now. And what we're about to be presented with is doing the same thing we have been doing, which will get us the results that we have now. So I just want to preface what we are about to see with that. Because to do what we really need to do to our streets, we need to address our streets from the base up.
Can I clarify that?
Does that include the civil work? Is
So
that what you mean?
let me clarify before we get started with happening.
feedback on that?
I'm sorry? Yes, what we're gonna do, and we made changes, Cheryl, so you know. What we're gonna do, we're gonna give you what it's gonna cost to actually repair the road, doing it right. The only thing that this does not show you is what's underneath the utilities, which we're gonna have to address prior to. You can look at this list, what it's gonna cost to do the road is what it's gonna cost. However, what it doesn't give you is what it's gonna take to go and repair the utilities. We would like for you to take consideration what it's gonna cost, and keep in mind that we will have to address the utilities underneath the road. When Leslie spoke to you about what we have in savings, that $2 million, you really need to consider using that to help do it right. Because for us to go and make the necessary repairs to these roads, and do it, the utilities underground is gonna be the only way we do it right. Because if you don't address the utilities, as you guys noticed, a lot of you called about Houston Street, Cleveland and Houston, and you noticed that the road was sinking. it started off with a water leak. And until we fix the underground utilities, you're gonna continue to have to do patchwork. So we did go and assess all the streets. What you're gonna get is how we actually are going to do the sub-base first and do it right. But it doesn't, the number you're about to see do not give you what it costs to do the utilities. Before we attempt any road repair, we will go and look at the utilities underground and come back with you with that amount.
Is there any grants out there that can kind of help offset some of this, maybe not so much on the road stuff, but on the utility side to help repair some of the utilities?
One of the issues that we face, and I know a lot of communities will go out for grants, the grants that we are eligible for, the areas in which we have an issue, we are not able to get funds because it's not low to moderate income area. The area in which we have received grant funding for is north of town, which it will address the underground utilities. So if Murphy
And
could,
some of these roads are on that north side.
On the north side.
Winfrey, so we'd have to wait for that grant to finish the upgrades on the sewer line before we decide to do some of North Winfrey.
so if you would let him go through with you the presentation, knowing that the cost he's giving you is true numbers to do the roads right, but it's incomplete because we do not have the cost of the utilities that's underground, okay?
So the first slide here, this is more, all of this is North Winfrey. And it's not all of North Winfrey. So does everyone have this sheet here? So it breaks it down for you and lets you know what parts of North Winfrey. More like between Jameson Tram to Austin, that part of North Winfrey is absolutely terrible. And it's got a high volume of traffic. All the roads that Public Works decided to put on this list or to pick off this list was high traffic areas. Some of that, most of that is going to have sewer lines replaced with a grant. I don't know, have them dates of when that might happen.
You don't have the dates because they're looking at how they're gonna reallocate those funds.
Okay. So, but this is, all of these streets do have this is to mulch the base and to put a cement into the base to give it a good foundation with a 2-inch overlay. This is fixing the roads, and we have never done this to the roads at all.
Okay, so this is from the base.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is put a cement base mixed in with what materials we have to give it a 6-inch base.
Just a quick question for you, Murphy. I'm looking at the estimated cost sheet that was in our packet.
This one?
Page 241.
And, yeah, 241, and it has an estimated total of $4,397,000. But whenever I look at the estimated cost
Okay,
total,
so that was prior for me getting a firm
okay,
number that was us estimating.
Use this one.
Yeah, that's the
Yes,
one we
ma'am.
just
Yes,
did.
use this one.
Okay.
so we don't
These
need
are
this.
updated, no,
Okay,
these are updated prices.
well, I like these numbers better anyway, so that's good.
Let me ask you, Murphy, is any of these roads that you have on this list, jumping ahead, already have the sewer lines fixed underneath?
Yes, sir. South Church has already been pipe bursted. North
Maybe
Main,
those are some of the top ones that get fixed now.
Yeah.
North
We
Main
can start.
has been pipe bursted.
Yeah.
That does not, there's water lines also, right? So they're old water lines. I can't tell you that we wouldn't pave them tomorrow and next week we won't have a main break. I can't tell you that. Or we may not have a main break for 10 years. I can't tell you that. You can put a brand new C900 water line down the road and next week it'll break. So it happens.
What size is the water lines under these streets?
Well, they vary. So Maine has a 6-inch. So does South Church.
Okay,
Winfrey has an 8-inch. It just varies.
okay.
Majority of these things also, probably not the main road, but have the sewer lines that run in the ditch, right?
Some do, some don't. It just, it's all over the place.
Yeah, 'cause
It's
You have the ones that are in the
Winfrey
ditch,
is,
you know
most of
there's water
Winfrey
lines.
is in the road, most of Winfrey. So is Main, so is Church, but Main and Churches have been upgraded, they've been pipe burst, it's all new sewer. But again, we have a lot of development in our city, so we may pave a road, and next week somebody buys a piece of property, we have to go in to make a sewer tap on it, and we're gonna have to saw cut it and make the sewer tap. So that happens every day.
I'd say as long as it's prepared a lot better than in past,
Yes.
because that's the
Putting
issue.
the sub base back.
Yeah.
And
You
doing it
got the road and all of a sudden you got a asphalt fix, and then it's 4 inches below the road that's there, and that's,
Yes, sir.
to me, not the way it should be fixed.
So this price here includes the base work or the utilities or not?
Not the utility.
No
Not
utilities.
utilities.
This is just road repairs,
Just road repair?
Yeah.
No
utilities.
no utilities.
Zero.
So that's my next question, right? Is there any way, based on your knowledge of what we have, is there any way that you can apply some sort of a ballpark figure of the additional cost that it would cost to repair the utilities?
So we wouldn't know what the utilities look like without an assessment. Now, and I'm working on that, I haven't completed that, but I do have some numbers
Okay,
for the top 12 on that list to
Okay.
have them cambered. All the sewer lines in the top 12 cambered. That is gonna be around $46,000 to have them cambered.
Just the council?
To see
Okay.
what shape they're in.
Yeah.
Can we do something, Counselor, because, can we let him go through the presentation and show you all the streets, and then let us come back and answer your questions? Because a lot of your questions gonna pertain to everything. And I would like for you all to just to be able to see and let him go over the pricing. Because on your estimate cost that we hand out to you, the ones in yellow is the ones that he's looking at as far as the ones that we tackle first. So if you could let him get through the presentation and then ask the question, would be helpful.
So the top 12 that are highlighted in yellow is not the top 12, okay?
That's the ones that's highlighted is the ones that the Public Works team got together and decided this is the high volume traffic roads that we should probably attend to first. Now, on the bottom of that page, you see 21 and 22. These roads was not on the assessment. We added them, Public Works added them because they are a high volume roads and we feel like they should be on that list, but they're not on that list.
Ready for the next one?
You can. So this is, we didn't decide to do that. What is that? So we can just skip through the ones that we didn't decide to do unless council wants to talk about them. So only ones that have pricing on them. Some of these roads that are on this list have actually been done within the last 2 or 3 years. They were just chip sealed and they were not done correctly, but they were falling apart still. This one is number 10.
See that down the middle, that road has already had its pipe.
That is Main, and what that road was, that was patched from being pipe bursted. That sewer line has been replaced. That's why it looks like it does. This would be a great road to fix, because the sewer's been done on it. This is South Cleveland.
Yes, it's Cleveland.
This is between 90 and Houston Street, the road that we keep having sinkholes on. But the good thing about this road, it does not have sewer on it. It only has water.
would this project include that little corner that's sinking right there?
It would not include that corner.
Okay.
We just done from curve to curve,
Okay.
but I'm sure we can put it in there.
Yeah.
Number 12. Yeah, not this one, just keep- yeah, without. Where's that one, 14? South Church, this one has been pipe bursted. I believe 4 years ago, it's been pipe bursted. Again, this water line on this road is a cast iron. And
You don't know what you're gonna find.
it is what it is.
One good freeze.
I wasn't worried about freeze, it's the drought that gets deepest. When they start breaking, the ground starts drying out and breaking, they usually shatter. Okay, I think that, I don't have pictures for 21, 22, because that's the roads that we decided to put on there extra. It wasn't on that assessment that we had done. I don't know why, but these are very high flow traffic on these two streets. Of course, I mean, Dayton has a lot of traffic, so I don't know what roads you're not gonna go down that don't have a lot of traffic, so.
So John, to answer your question, you talked about North Main, South Cleveland, South Church Street. Those we know the sewer has been taken care of. It's identified 10, 11, and 14 as streets that we need to go ahead and possibly go ahead and resurface those streets, reconstruct those streets. And they are on our list. But we wanted council to have this information because it's been brought to our attention under like the next item to do a street committee. And I've been trying to explain during the street committee, they don't understand and know what's underground. And I want a staff who's aware of what's underground. They know the condition of streets to be able to sit here and talk effectively to council about what's going on. Keep in mind, if you want someone to go and evaluate the entire city street system, they can do that. However, when funds get available, someone has to redo that all over again. So why do that? Why would you take your citizen out there to reevaluate the entire community when you know you don't have funds? Let's go with the roads and stuff that we have on all this that we know need much repair, heavily traveled roads, and take care of those. We do have staff capable to take care of what the funds that we have available for today, to take care of those roads. Now, with Leslie bringing to light the additional funds that we will have in reserve, now we're able to go and take a look, camera these roads, find out the utility condition, to say what needs to be repaired, and bring that to council and say this is the total cost to do these roads, including utilities. This is what we're trying to do.
But
So,
you're talking about, dipping into our reserves, which we're trying to build up.
Well,
We
you're
have
gonna
good
build them up,
reserves
but you got roads, you got immediate needs right now.
And we've allocated more funding for the roads.
Okay, so 526,000 was gonna take to do the ones that's in yellow that's on your sheet, right? That has nothing to do with utilities.
I
So unless you
understand that.
address the utilities,
I
what are you
understand
gonna
that.
do?
I'm not saying we use this money to address all 12 of these.
Right.
But I'm saying, I think we need to protect our reserves. They're there for a reason.
They
I
are.
think we have we're talking about two different reserves.
Yes, we
Correct me
are.
if I'm wrong, Leslie.
Yes, but
We are.
I'm projecting. We still have not finished the audit, but I'm projecting for it to be over the 2 million. But that's why we have to wait on this until I know certain numbers. I'm not gonna agree to this,
So,
but there is gonna be some surplus. And I actually was gonna bring it to council for me to create a new fund because, and I actually talked to our auditor, because what other cities do is whenever the general fund is meeting its reserve, the excess money gets transferred to this fund and that's used for capital projects
Like this.
like this, or like funding the vehicles for PD, for public works, streets and stuff, so we have cash money to fund projects without affecting our general fund, but until I have final numbers, I can say what can be transferred to this new fund that council will have to approve. I would have to bring it to council and you would have to approve the new fund, it would be like a capital projects fund that you can approve, and then whenever I know the excess, the auditor said it'd be best for me to wait till we finalize the audit, so I can know the actual number, then I can do it right now, but then I'm estimating, and what if I transfer too much money, into this capital projects fund?
And that's not our operating
No.
In
reserve.
our reserve, no.
No.
So
that's
you're
what I was
talking
trying to
about
say.
two different
That's what I was asking.
reserve
Okay.
accounts.
It is
You're
correct.
talking about our operating reserve, and then you're talking about the projected reserve, but those are two different reserves that you're talking about, right?
So the general fund has a reserve, and right now we are meeting our reserve. So whatever we put into this year, it's gonna be surplus. So this is why I wanna bring this new fund to y'all. It's called like the Capital Projects Fund, and we are in that fund, we will put in every year. As long as we meet our reserve and general fund, the excess cash is gonna be transferred to this capital projects fund, and that's what we'll be able to fund cash projects,
Right.
like the streets, the replacement of the vehicles. So next year, it won't be coming out if I create this fund. The vehicles, PD vehicles will be coming out of general fund. This is why I'm creating this capital projects fund, because I want the excess cash to go into another fund. The general fund will meet its reserve. I'm gonna make sure of that, because we have to meet our reserve. It's the excess of the reserve that I'm gonna transfer to this new fund, and that fund is gonna fund the projects.
And what's our minimum?
It's 6 months of the savings. Of the expenses, so it's 6 months.
Well, we're not talking about taking, let's say that we are $2 million, we're not talking about taking a whole $2 million. We're talking about looking at what it's gonna take to get some of these roads taken care of, because we can't do it unless we replace the utilities underneath. We're not talking about
We
the
agree
entire
with
2
that.
million.
We agree with that. And I'm not talking about tackling all 12
Right.
of the yellow highlighted ones. But I do know that in our last budget that we just approved, we allocated more money toward roads than had been done before.
That's correct.
And we had money in the bond for that as
Well,
well.
Let me clarify something. If we did not council did not allocate more money than what's done before, because we've gone from previous and we look back to see how much has been contributed. It has been more. It's been millions of dollars that has been set aside to streets. The problem is that no one has taken the initiative to get the streets completed. They're finding other things to do with the funds. This year, we're looking to get something done. So that's what's been going on. We want to not say, let's not hire a consultant to do this. The consultant work already been done. Now it's time to take these funds and actually make a difference that can be seen.
We'll just hold Murphy accountable, right?
Yeah.
We could.
So,
Go, Murphy.
Well, I have 2 sewer lines that you need to keep on your mind that needs to be pipe bursted, and I have quotes for them to be pipe bursted, so. One of them is East Houston Street.
Yes.
So I know y'all told y'all this, so in Hillcrest is one of them roads too, so.
Is that from 1409 to Colbert?
Yes, so, and that one was $180,000 to have it pipe bursted. And then, so Hillcrest is about $215,000.
And Hillcrest is so important. That's one of the streets that's been added to our list. This is the street, if you guys recall, we had neighbors call us to tell us there's a hole in the road. We went out there, noticed the hole was due to sewer, and every time Public Works went to fix a portion of sewer line, the other part would go ahead and collapse.
Is it more because it's a longer road?
It's a lot to do with the fact that the age of it.
It's the age of it, but a lot of it, like, so Cherry Creek lift station, we have a lot of I&I. All that Hillcrest, Sherwood, Lenny Creek, all that goes to Cherry Creek lift station. So, and we need to start working on some of this I&I.
so with the 526,000 total cost of highlighted streets, what is the number that we're looking at? I guess my question, and I know it's hard to I guess we need to have them scoped. And then we can come back and actually look at a number and see what we got. Because by then, I'm sure by then, we'll be beyond the audit, we'll know exactly what our numbers are, we'll know all of that. And then we also will know what sewer lines and things need to be replaced.
You got it. That's correct.
You can't go drinking roads right now anyway.
No, sir, this is way the wrong season to do roads.
Right.
Yep.
But, I mean, I think the general consensus is that we do all the work we can do now. I mean, I'm sure that
Prepare.
we can,
Yeah.
we can scope the roads now, there's not a road scope season, but we can scope the roads, get all the numbers together so that in the spring, we can just hit it full force and start going.
That's what we would like to do. That's correct.
I forgot which one we're even on.
That's okay.
I would say,
Uh,
at number 30 Sherwood, if it doesn't have a sewer line on it, that ought to be addressed
Which
like,
one? Okay,
30,
30?
it ought to be addressed like
Yeah,
pretty
30.
quick.
20.
Not wait till the summertime, that looked terrible.
Okay, so with us doing this, what
Project
is
0020.
the action that we need to take?
I would,
No action.
Is this considered with possible action?
Yeah.
well, you don't have to take any action, but to me, if you wanna take action, and Brenda, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't think they could take action on, cause this is just update street assessment analysis. That's the street assessment analysis is what this is. This not saying go out and make these repairs, this is an update.
But I don't think they have to vote to approve the assessment. I think we have, that is the assessment.
So is the camera scope part of the assessment?
so,
They updated it. You heard me, Brandon? It's been updated.
So is the camera scope part of the assessment, or is that something separate?
That's separate.
So
I
I
believe
this
this is updated.
So can we,
No.
But you're saying that
Approving it.
it's 46,000
How could they run the
run a
update?
camera down all of the.
that's only a
ones
few
in yellow?
streets.
Not all of them, the top 12.
The top
Yeah,
12.
the ones in yellow.
No,
No,
sir.
no, the top
I'm
12.
still working on all the numbers for all of them. It was the top 12, from 1 to 12. That was what I,
Okay.
because we hadn't narrowed the highlighted areas down yet, so.
Yeah,
So the ones that you've highlighted, that's the $500,000 cost, right?
526.
Or is it eight?
Three of those of which have already had their stuff replaced.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, there's several roads on there we won't have to camera.
Okay,
So, Mr. Mayor, I would say, if y'all are wanting to take an action to say, let's fix X street tonight, then that would be a motion to make. But it sounds like from the discussion, it's more of, let's wait, have it scoped, and come back with the full assessment
But then
later.
we have to have a motion to expend funds for the scope.
That's
that's
what
what
that's
we were
what I'm-
getting at,
yeah,
that's what we were
that's what I
getting
was
to.
asking.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that. I mean,
And that's scope all the
how much did you say that was?
46,000.
I said, let's not go
The
over
46,000.
It's gonna be more than that.
So if we allocate
I-
100,000,
The first 12 lines cost 46,000
Okay, that's
to
what
camera.
we're gonna get.
So do you wanna just do the highlighted streets or all the streets?
I think all the streets should be,
The whole 20 or 22?
yes,
22.
with the exception of the
Other
three
ones.
that's.
with the
Right.
exceptions of, yeah, the ones that
So
don't.
can we get it done for less than 100,000?
That's what we had to do. Can we just set a number of, no more than 100?
Well,
I think so, I think that, but I can't tell you that.
So, Mr. Mayor, if y'all wanted to move under this to, authorize staff to move forward with scoping the lines up to a price of $100,000 of expenditures, you could do it that way. And then that way they could go ahead and start
It's
with
going,
that.
and if it exceeds that amount, we just come back. But I don't see it exceeding.
Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve up to $100,000 for, scoping of the, utilities,
Sewer lines.
the sewer line of the streets presented tonight.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and to be clear, this is, would include all 20 streets with the exception of the three.
It would be the 22 streets. streets.
Well, there's several in there that doesn't need
Not
to.
required.
Right, the two add-on streets that are open.
Okay, yeah, so the 22 minus the 3 that doesn't need to be done.
Correct.
Okay, okay. All right, any other comments?
Can we get a status as this is going on at each meeting as to what you accomplished?
Yes, ma'am, I can give it to you in my weekly.
She made the
Excuse
motion.
me, everyone. Can we amend your motion to say where these funds are coming from? Will we go ahead and use bond funds? Or should we go ahead and use the, I would suggest bond funds. Because then we can see what we have excess.
The bond funds that we allocated for streets.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if Cheryl, you would just amend your motion to say, and pay for that with bond funds.
And, okay, and amending my motion that to reflect that the funds are coming from bond.
And then you need to.
And I second it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and a motion second. Any other discussion on this? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item H passes with the conditions that we set.
Got you.
Okay, item I. Consider with possible action on resolution R 2023-103 approving the reinstatement of the City of Dayton Street Committee.
Mayor, City Council, this is an item that I feel we put on there, but I don't think it's something that's necessary. I've stated before, and I'd like to go on record. When I brought this to staff attention, staff, and I'll call you out, staff, made me aware, why are we doing this? Every time we do a street committee, somebody look at the streets in their neighborhood and don't look at the rest of the city. They make recommendations to improve the streets in their neighborhood and doesn't look at the entire city. I don't need no one looking at their neighborhood. We need to look at the entire community. And at this time, we don't have funds to do all streets within the city. So why would we put ourselves in a situation where we're going out to assess some streets for someone that says a pothole on the streets at this time? We have a clear assignment of what we need to do with funds to do so. So I would like to be with staff to continue doing what they're doing. It's been very difficult for us to get people to serve on committees as it is.
My suggestion would be that this street committee is a communication mechanism to get the word out to the community. Maybe it's bringing them in and educating them on the approach we're taking, and not necessarily bringing and using them as a means to communicate with the city.
If they would do that, that'd be great, but that's not what's gonna happen.
Okay.
If they would do that, that's one thing, but we have, right now, we have our press here, and they can put in the paper, make it known on Facebook, that City Council is now actively going and to look at the streets in Dayton and has assigned staff to go ahead and proceed with X amount of funds to rehab the current streets.
And which ones?
And that we will be coming back with which streets that we are about to, fix. I'm sure they don't
So
like that.
what I'll do is, I'll say this, this was my idea to put this back out there. The reason for that is because, at the time, I didn't feel like we had enough staff to do the assessment, do what needed to be done. I feel differently about that tonight. I feel like we have a good program going forward, and, again, like I said, I didn't want to put this off on anybody else, and I know we're on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but this was my idea. And, you know, I would say that, I'm much happier tonight with the presentation of what the city has given us. That I feel like that we could probably forego the streets committee discussion for the time being. At least until we get into probably we revisit it sometime next year when we're in the thick of street repair season.
Yes. I agree.
So I didn't want anybody else to be put on the spot when I'm the one who requested this, so. That's my comment.
So what do you do, Brandon, lack of motion?
If nobody wants to make a motion to create the streets committee, then you just move on. It dies for lack of a motion, you move on.
All right, can I get a motion? All right, we're gonna move on to item J. Consider with possible action on resolution R 2023-108, approving the DEDC OmniSource LLC funding, first reading.
All right, so Mayor and Council, I'm gonna turn it over to Tara, and then I'm gonna explain what we're doing here, since we have several new council members, since we have done, one of these EDC grants. We have to do 2 readings of the resolution before you guys, vote to approve it. And so on any EDC project, DEDC would vote to approve it, and then council has to vote to also approve it. And so that's the step that we are at now, where the EDC has already voted to approve it. Chair's gonna go over, I'm assuming, what this grant is and everything about it. But then I would read this resolution in its entirety twice. So you know, that's why it's on here twice. Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this is for the, for an incentive for OmniSource LLC. They are a scrap metal recycling and processing facility seeking to locate in Gulf Inland Logistics Park. The DEDC Board of Directors met at their September meeting, and they did approve to recommend to you guys funding of up to $399,385.20 for incentives for the company. And that would be split into 3 milestone payments: $150,000 when the project closed on the property, $100,000 when they received their certificate of occupancy, and the remaining $149,385.20 or 20 cents when 60% of their full-time employees are earning over $47,465 a year.
How, on the item, on the 3rd tier, how are you guys gonna enforce that? Are they required to submit their financials to you guys?
So, yes, they would be required to submit like their payroll, so I would go through personally and make sure that a certain amount of their employees were meeting that, yearly salary threshold that we set.
And they've already closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they would be eligible for the first payment immediately.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I did have a question on that last part. Is there a certain timeline that they would have for that set in place in the contract?
For the employee, it is not that they don't get it unless 60%.
Unless 60% of their employees make that.
I would like
And
to
what
see
was
a
that?
timeline put in for that, a
Like
time limit.
like a 10 years or whatever.
Right, I don't want it,
Okay.
going.
Just set up some KPIs or a milestone so that we know when they need it.
I can't hear you, Valerie.
Set up like a milestone so that we can see it.
Like what?
See the payment when they hit that mark. And what was the what was the salary amount?
$47,465 per year, and that's per the incentive policy. That's the average wage for that type of position in Liberty County.
And that was the next question. Is it for how many positions? I think I remember it wasn't that many positions that was going to be.
So they were gonna do, I believe if I remember correctly, 50 positions over 5 years. And then it would be 60% of their full-time employees.
Okay, so if it's within 5 years, I would like to see the 5 years on that contract, not to exceed.
Okay.
And so the 150 pretty much is gonna be part of their startup costs. We're gonna.
Yeah,
That would be
they're eligible
after-
for the 150 now.
Yes, after the waiting period is over, because there has to be a 60-day waiting period.
So then they, just for clarity, they would then get those funds in January.
After that waiting period,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And that's all contingent on them signing the contract, the agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are y'all ready? Hold on. Are you ready for me to read the first reading?
Yes, read.
And then we move to the next agenda item and you can make a motion on that.
Okay,
Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna read as fast as I can.
okay.
And it's by state law that we have to do this, so I'm sorry. It's a resolution by the City Council of Dayton, Texas, said resolution authorizing an award and disbursement of Dayton Economic Development Corporation funds for an economic development grant to OmniSource LLC. Whereas the City Council of Dayton, Texas has carefully reviewed the economic development request from OmniSource LLC, hereinafter referred to as the grant recipient. And whereas the injection of economic development funds into the subject project is in compliance with the guidelines and regulations of the state of Texas as they relate to 4B Economic Development Corporation. And whereas a grant agreement by between the Dayton Economic Development Corporation, hereinafter referred to as the DEDC, and the grant recipient shall control performance levels associated with this grant. And whereas the DEDC Board of Directors has reviewed the subject grant request and has approved same, and whereas the exact dollar amount of this grant award shall be an amount not to exceed $399,385.20, with said amount being funded by the DEDC. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Dayton, Texas, that this resolution has been read aloud 2 times by the Dayton City Council. The Dayton City Council hereby authorizes the DEDC to award an economic development grant in the amount of $399,385.20 to the grant recipient pursuant to a grant agreement. The executive director of the DEDC shall secure the timely and appropriate execution of the grant agreement and shall deliver a fully executed original document to the City of Dayton's Director of Finance. And a 60-day waiting period for payments against this grant is hereby established. The waiting period to commence on the date of the DEDC's first public notice of said grant. That would be the first reading.
Okay, so quick question on this.
Yes, sir.
If we decide to adopt what Tanya had asked for, the amendment on the contract, are we supposed to take action if they gotta go back and amend the contract?
The contract hasn't been
I
written
haven't
yet,
done it yet.
so we're gonna write the contract.
Oh, okay, I thought that, okay.
Yes.
My fault.
So now if y'all are ready to move to K, Mr. Mayor, then I'll read it one more time and then y'all can do your thing.
2 readings.
So do we need to do a motion?
No, so you just move to K.
Up to the second.
Okay, all right,
Alright,
go for it.
alright, so under K, I'll read it one more time. Resolution by the City Council of Dayton, Texas, said resolution authorizing an award and disbursement of Dayton Economic Development Corporation funds for an economic development grant to OmniSource LLC. Whereas the City Council of Dayton, Texas has carefully reviewed the economic development request from OmniSource LLC, hereinafter referred to as the grant recipient. Whereas the injection of economic development funds into the subject project is in compliance with the guidelines and regulations of the state of Texas as they relate to a 4B Economic Development Corporation. Whereas a grant agreement by and between the Dayton Economic Development Corporation, hereinafter referred to as the DEDC, and the grant recipient shall control performance levels associated with this grant. And whereas the DEDC Board of Directors has reviewed the subject grant request and has approved same. And whereas the exact dollar amount of this grant award shall be an amount not to exceed $399,385.20, with said amount being funded by the DEDC. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Dayton, Texas, that this resolution has been read aloud 2 times by the Dayton City Council. Dayton City Council hereby authorizes the DEDC to award an economic development grant in the amount of $399,385.20 to the grant recipient pursuant to a grant agreement. The executive director of the DEDC shall secure the timely and appropriate execution of the grant agreement and shall deliver a fully executed original document to the City of Dayton's Director of Finance. And a 60-day waiting period for payments against this grant is hereby established, with said waiting period to commence upon the date of the DEDC's first public notice of said grant. So, I just want to say one thing real quick. The reason this one has to be read twice is because it's a grant, this code that we're using for it calls for it. The next item on the agenda, you'll say, hey Brandon, why aren't we reading this one twice? It falls under another section. So it doesn't have to be read twice. But this one, now you can make a motion if you want
To do what?
to approve the resolution.
On vote for K and the other one?
No, just K.
Just K, because there's no action item on the first one.
Okay.
There's just a reading.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion on item K?
I move that we approve resolution number 2023-108, approving the DEDC OmniSource LLC funding. I second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. Any other discussion items on this topic? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item K passes. Consider with, item L, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2023-110, approving the DEDC expenditures for Daniel Park improvements.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The DEDC Board of Directors met last Monday, the 13th, to discuss, and one of the items on the agenda was discussion regarding the improvements to Daniel Park. We received quotes for recrowning of the ball fields, as well as some estimates for different fencing for the fields. And the board discussed and voted to approve up to $25,000 to help recrown the ball fields. And the way that would be paid out for the board's decision would be, we would be invoiced directly for it, and the funds would be paid via us instead of us paying the $25,000 to DYSA.
Okay, so this is now the same field that the DYSA we just talked about?
Correct.
Okay.
So
We're putting a lot of money into that field.
what were the estimates?
So the estimates were for the recrowning of all 7 of the fields to improve drainage and to get them ready would be $22,950. And that was for the fields. And then we did receive some estimates for fencing, and those were around $29,000 and $14,000.
So how much, what's your total expenditure on that?
So this, we had $25,000 in the budget for a community development project, and the board did vote to approve up to $25,000 for the recrowning of the fields.
Okay.
So, I'm learning. So the 25,000, if it's approved, you guys are gonna pay it, and then the money comes from where?
We're gonna pay directly to the contractor for the recrown.
Yes.
This would come out of DEDC fund.
Okay, but I understand that. But they have a surplus of money. They have like $80,000, right? And a lot of money they mismanage their money at the end of the day, right? And so we have money that we need to fix our streets. We got sewer. We got other areas, but it's not like their account is in the negative. And I'm all about, the youth and doing things, but they've asked for quite a bit of money.
So
Whether we vote on it comes from one of the allocated uses of the money, or if it comes from EDC. At the
So
end of the
this
day,
is not money that we can use, correct me if I'm wrong, Kimberly. This is not money that we can use to fix roads.
I understand.
This is money that
I'm
they're
talking
using
about
for
money
that.
that, I understand that part. I'm just saying that there's other organizations that's within the city that could use some of this money. I mean, it's like, I have a hard part, just getting over the lack of mismanagement, and I know it's gonna do some great things and make Daniel Park look good, but I just want, I don't understand. It's a lot of money they're asking for.
Well, I don't think that they asked for, did they come and ask for this?
They did.
They did, oh, okay,
Yes.
then I'm wrong. So, can I get a motion, one way or another? Okay,
I am making a motion, that we approve resolution R 2023-110 as presented.
I second.
okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. Any other discussion topics? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
It was
Two
I heard
ayes.
two.
I heard two.
Yeah.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, so it fails.
Thank you.
Okay, the time is now 7:45, and I hereby recess the regular session of the Dayton City Council's Monday.
Let's talk about it, we shouldn't have that camera on, huh?
Is it on?
There's on. I just turned it on.
That'll be entertaining.
You're gonna edit that out, right?
Nobody's listening.
It is now 8:10 p.m. and I hereby close this executive session of the Dayton City Council and do hereby convene the regular city council meeting. Moving into action item 10A, consider with possible action on legal matters discussed in executive session.
I move that we approve the settlement agreement with Delaware Hospitality Group of Dayton as discussed in executive session.
Okay, I have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item A passes. Item B, consider with possible action on resolution R 2023-105, casting the city of Dayton's votes for the position of director of the Liberty County Appraisal District Board.
I move that we cast all 222 votes to Mr. Jim Smith's name.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion to approve